excuse me for that. So let's talk about some of the values. I don't know if you've seen the movie Zombieland, but the main character has these rules that he has running through the whole thing, and you follow the rules and everything will be okay. So I have a few of those in here, but I thought the word axiom is way cooler than rules because it has an X in it, so I decided to use that instead. But here's the first one. That feature that you have, it can be used in a way that you didn't think of. Try and figure out what it is. And this came from one of the first attacks that happened, first large attacks that happened at Facebook. That wasn't kind of a low-hanging fruit. It was something that was really innovative, and weird. And it came at a time when we were very focused on growth, and we didn't have a lot of resources, we didn't have a lot of money, we didn't have a lot of people. And it really informed the way that we decided to think about attacking security from then on. And this was in early 2006 when this started. So we had a feature at the time called Friend Finder where you could upload, we'd tell you how to export your email list, you could upload it to us, and we would tell you, here's, of the people that are on your list, here's how many of them have Facebook accounts, so if you join, we'll automatically send out friend requests for you to them and come join all your friends. At that time, we were also very focused on performance because we didn't have a lot of money to buy servers, and we wanted to make sure that every feature we put in, we knew how many CPU cycles it took, we'd monitor them, and where there were inefficiencies, we'd go into the code and try and fix them. So we suddenly found that this page was very, very heavy. Lots of CPU, we were serving it a lot, and we thought there was a problem with it. So we went in and looked at the code, everything was fine. Ended up partitioning off a couple things in a couple servers in production and looking at what people were uploading and looking at what they were doing. And what we found was a variety of IP addresses from around the world were uploading a slightly misformatted file that contained 100 alphabetical email addresses. And they were doing it a lot. So what they were doing ultimately was taking a spam list that they'd gotten of email addresses and scrubbing it via Facebook. So every time we told them, hey, on your list, 50 of those guys have Facebook accounts, they knew those are good addresses, and they could spam them with impunity. And so internally we thought about, what do we do about this? We had probably 4 choices. One was to ignore it, which wasn't good because we were paying for the CPU usage that was not showing real pages to our users. Another one was to try and code around it or to keep them from doing it. But realistically, that's not where we wanted to put our engineering time at that point, and we probably wouldn't succeed because we'd make changes, they'd make changes, the arms race would go on. We could just buy more servers and try and support it, which was obviously the least favorite option. And that really left us with one choice, and that was to go on the offensive and find out who it was, go after them, do whatever we could to get them to stop. And I was a big proponent of that solution. So that's what we did. We ended up using some legal methods that I'll talk about later in the presentation, filed lawsuits against John Doe's because we didn't know who they were, went after a bunch of the IP addresses with discovery letters, subpoenas, and that alone stopped the activity. But we wanted to find out who it was and go after them. Ultimately, after a money trail that went from Washington to Cyprus to Canada, all over the place, we ended up finding the individuals involved, serving them, suing them in U.S. court, even though they were Canadians, and they settled for a few $100,000. The upshot of this was, in retrospect, that it probably cost us $50,000 to do the suit. And this was at a time where that was a lot of money for us. We could have bought a lot of servers for that. We could have supported more usage. But the $50,000 we spent there not only stopped the attack, thereby gaining probably $20,000, $30,000 worth of server capacity that we didn't have to rebuy, but ultimately, because of the penalties, we ended up having more revenue to actually support our real business and doing what we wanted to do. So that informed one of our key security values, which is we diligently go after attackers of any type. Anyone attacks Facebook, we'll go after them. We may not do anything. We may just identify them and sit on it for a while. We have 7 years till the statute of limitations runs out. But we want to know who people are who are attacking us and why. The other thing we might do is not just sue them. We actually will probably, if they're really good at it, we'll offer them a job, as some of the people on my team, that's how we found them. Yes, we still do that. It's not a cliche. And we use pretty much all legal means to identify attackers and their motives. So we're big on attribution, Jeff. And that means not only IP addressing and their interactions with Facebook, but once we identify in the whole chain of the attack, as I'll talk about later, we'll go after people in there too and ask them who these people are or who other people are, because ultimately we want to get down to an individual. And then once we find those, if people are continuing to attack us, we go after them with both civil and criminal penalties. And I'll talk about some of the things we're able to do based in the U.S. I was trying to get some information on equivalent European laws and other ways that people in Europe could do this, and I wasn't able to, but I'm still working on that because obviously we're going to need that in the future as well. And then Facebook has a set of corporate values that are pretty strange. I was going to go through all of them, and I thought that's not really appropriate here, but there's 3 in particular that are actually really relevant to the security organization. We respect the trust that users place in us, and that's pretty much first and foremost. I think from the day that I started at Facebook, and a value that I've tried to instill in the whole group is we're essentially a private security force for the 400 million people that use the site. And we need to think and act that way, that we're protecting your self-interest. And in a sense, your interests are our interests because we want you to use the site and we want you to be safe on using it. So we work hard at that. Secondly, the company moves very fast. And by very fast, pretty much every company, every person I talk to who's been in what they think is a fast development organization, I tell them what we do and how we do it, and they realize that they're somewhat slow by comparison. We, in the early days, we were pushing code once or twice a day. We did that probably through late 06, and then we slowed down to once a day, and now we're averaging about once a week. But these are major changes, major develops, and so we're constantly refactoring, which means there's a lot of other tools that you have to follow. Our tools we have to keep updated, things like that. But also our attackers move fast, so we have to move fast enough to keep up with them and not let them lap us. And what's very important at Facebook is, since our resources are so small, we're still only about a 1,200 person company, and everyone has to work very hard, but it's very important that when you're working hard that you're leveraging that work on high order problems. And I'll talk about one of the ways that we think in security where the high order problems are and how to go after them. And then it's very important to us to work in the community and talk to everyone about what we're doing and how. And we want to assist the community as much as they assist us, and there's a bunch of ways that we do that. And one of them is the responsible disclosure policy that we have, which is if you find a security issue, or you're a researcher, you're a user, or anything, and you come to us and tell us about it before you tell anyone else and give us a chance to work on it, we'll not only give you credit for it on our security pages, which is facebook.com/security, but we'll also indemnify you from the normal actions that we would take against other people. So we won't sue you for it. We won't report you to law enforcement. And if it's a really good hack, we'll probably end up hiring you. Okay, here's another rule. And this is, you're going to hear me say this word about, 50 times in the next half hour. Intelligence is king. You own the playing field. Your application, your website, your network. Do everything you can to get every single piece of information out of there, not just the obvious pieces of information. Just get as much data as you can and then figure out different ways to analyze it to make attributions. It's amazing how easy it is to attribute attacks to at least unknown actors, but identify the individuals if you look at the data appropriately. So this one I'm going to actually leave out for a little bit because I think it's really, really important. Okay. This is a little bit about how the team was